But Flex, what do you think? Do you expect either Varane or Martial to extend their contracts?
I think they're quite different situations. I think it's really important to kind of read in between the lines with what's been said and what hasn't been said. I think a lot of the time on social media or fans, and sometimes, you know, in the media, it can be misreported as to what a manager is meaning to say or has said or hasn't said. And I think with this situation, Anthony Martial, with the contract situation he's in, coming to the end of his contract, he's been having loads of injuries at the minute, has not completed a lot of 90 minutes for Manchester United and has really struggled. I think, in my opinion, I think it would be very unlikely that Manchester United give him a new contract, especially under these current conditions, in my opinion. But there is still a role for him to play for the rest of the season, so I don't think it would be feasible for Erik ten Hag to go into a press conference sort of discussing that he's not going to be here and we're looking for a move for him when there's still 4 or 5 months left of the season. That's just not what you do. And in the case of Raphael Varane, I think there has been some discrepancies into reading into what this means. Raphael Varane is on a very lucrative contract at Manchester United in terms of pay per week. And it's not something that's sustainable moving forward. If Manchester United were to trigger an extension for Raphael Varane, it would have to be with the current terms. And I think there is a willingness to maybe keep Varane at the football club on reduced terms, and that would look a lot different for Manchester United in the future and a lot better for Manchester United in the future. Now, there is a risk with that. Maybe Raphael Varane says, this isn't for me, I would like to go somewhere else. He's free to talk to clubs, and that's the risk.
Do you think he will want to stay?
It depends on the negotiations, and that's where Erik ten Hag is perfectly right in saying there are conversations with the club and the player. We don't know how that will play out. There was a very similar situation last season with David De Gea, and I think the misconception is that maybe Erik ten Hag thinks that the best thing for Manchester United is to get rid of keep Victor Lindelof, but let Raphael Varane go. That's not what this is. There's completely different contracts, completely different valuations on the players, and when you get to the summer, it looks completely different. They haven't given Victor Lindelof a new contract. They've just extended him on his current terms, which is more feasible than doing that for Raphael Varane. And Manchester United clearly have an intention on rebuilding their squad with youth players and younger players and sorting out that wage structure. So I think it's a very smart move for Manchester United to not renegotiate Raphael Varane's terms as they are. If he stays, it's fantastic for Manchester United because they have a player who is experienced and can help rebuild the squad on different terms. And if Raphael Varane chooses to do something different with his career, which he's entitled to do, then that would look different as well. But I just think it was important to sort of dive into what Erik ten Hag was saying versus what he wasn't. And also on the fact of Martial and Raphael Varane, me and Dave have been doing a little bit of digging into their impact at Manchester United and looking at the sort of impact that they've had when they have played in the last couple of seasons versus when they haven't played in the last couple of seasons. 3 seasons, to be precise, for Anthony Martial. His last 3 seasons in the Premier League, what we have there, I mean, 21-22, only 2 starts for Manchester United in the Premier League. Glaringly obvious, that's a big issue. 22-23 season, only 11 starts. And then up into this season, only 5 starts. And you're looking at the minutes played as well, right down. Goals, 1 in 21-22, 6 last season and 1 this season. It's a big issue.
That's been the main issue, hasn't it, for Manchester United supporters, the fact that Anthony Martial hasn't spent enough time on the pitch, whether that by selection, tactical decisions or through injuries, just not had enough time on the pitch to justify a contract extension or him to kind of show and prove, really, that he's part of United's future.
Exactly, and in fairness to Martial, last season Erik ten Hag was very strong in stating that even though he was available at limited capacity, when he was in the team, Manchester United statistically were actually performing better. It's just getting that consistency out of him, and that's why I think there's been a hesitancy, as we've seen, or a reluctance so far to renew Anthony Martial, especially on his current terms. So in my opinion, I think with those stats there, I think you can see why Manchester United are in that position. Moving on to Raphael Varane.
Yeah, I wanted to have a look at Raphael Varane, and a lot of United supporters think that Raphael Varane is Manchester United's best defender, and here is the reason why a lot of United supporters think like that. He's a 4-time Champions League winner, World Cup winner as well. At 30 as well, you've got to say he's probably still got quite a lot to give at the top level. This is how he ranks at the moment against his Manchester United teammates. An outstanding box defender, if you look at the clearances per 90, and aerial duels won as well. And if Erik ten Hag wants to play a direct, transitional, fast style of football, he needs good 1v1 defending. Take a look at the duel success at 69%, the highest rank of the United squad. The numbers he's been putting up as well, you've got to say, that's a key one at the bottom. Only 7 starts, joint 16th within that Manchester United squad for starts. So he's putting up those good numbers. But look at the starts that he's had compared to his teammates as well. And also, United are better when Varane is on the pitch. Let's take a look at United's on-pitch success. Here is the expected goals minus expected goals allowed while Varane is on the pitch. During his first 2 years at Old Trafford, the team are expected to score more than 6 goals than they're expected to concede. That shows overall that while Varane is on the pitch, he is a net positive.
Absolutely, that's exactly what he is. And as you can see, when he plays, Manchester United are better for it. And I think the discrepancies or the discussions around Raphael Varane have never been about how good he is. It's been about availability.
4-time Champions League winner, World Cup.
Unbelievable. He's got all the accolades you could ask for as a professional footballer. It's definitely not about quality. And as we've seen from those stats right there, he's a fantastic player and still has a lot to offer Manchester United. But going forward for the future of Manchester United, how do you justify huge wages and huge outlays on players who maybe not be available as much? So if that's reduced, Raphael Varane can still have a part to play in this Manchester United squad, an integral one.
That's the question, is it, for United at the moment? Is Anthony Martial now, is Raphael Varane going to be a part of the future? And with the new investment coming in at Manchester United, there's new people in charge at the club. They will want to almost have a clean slate. And when someone like Raphael Varane, who is on such a large weekly wage, if they're able to either reduce terms, they get a fantastic player for an extra year. If they're not, then they get those wages off the books and they're able to almost start again.